progress.
Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi coming to you live June 27th, 2023, 5 p.m. Pacific time to take your immigration questions live for general educational purposes. They're by guidance and stuff. So what I love to do, I love to talk about immigration, and we're going to spend the next half hour going through that material with you to see how we could help. We're live on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We get a lot of questions on TikTok. If you're going to watch on TikTok, please don't ask the same question over and over again because it makes it difficult to keep track of what's going on. And then I, have to skip over people. And when it comes to questions about timelines, how long things are, it varies so dramatically. I really don't have an answer here for that. We're going to talk about actual law stuff as much as possible to give you a general idea of what's going on in that situation. So we're going to get into that right now. Again, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi taking your questions live in all these different locations. News about immigration, a lot of things are going on. One piece of good news is that they've added premium processing, which means you pay a little more or a lot more, and you're able to fast forward your case in many case steps. All the employment-based case steps, green cards for getting a job, for example, or visas, they've added premium processing, so you hurry it up. And a really good one is for people changing status to get student visas in the United States. For example, you enter the U.S. with a tourist visa and you decide to go to school. It was taking 6 months, almost a year, for them to approve or adjudicate, at least, not approve or deny, that you are a student and you go to school here and get that started. But that was 1 year of the life that just got lost. So thankfully, they've said you pay some extra money and you can fast forward that. And it's a big relief because, it could be a big issue how I'd wait that long. We have a question from Deb. Deb says, I need your phone number, please. No, Deb, we only give out our direct phone number to existing clients because we want them to have a cell phone to grab whenever they need. What we do is, if you like, email the office at info@jqqlaw.com. That's the email address, info@jqqlaw.com. And there you can explain what your immigration issue is so that we can say, hey, this is the kind of case we handle. If not, we don't. And also, depending on the attorney handling the case, we would have a consultation, what the fee is, if any, for that discussion. Many times there's fees for that. So that's the way to go. Email us first and tell us what's going on, and then we could take it from there. But then, clients get direct numbers. Our phone number is online. I mean, if you're online, you'll find a number. But we've stopped answering that call for a lot of years because we get so many people calling, and it's hard to explain this kind of what we need or we don't over the phone. So we say, email us. This kind of case we need. We'll tell you what the next steps are. And also we have it in writing because we have sometimes where we explain stuff over the phone and the client doesn't understand it. And then it becomes a problem. So we like to have everything in writing, all the important stuff, especially in our first meeting, so that later on, if there's a problem, we say, hey, we told you, we have everything in writing. Because unfortunately, people don't always keep track of what we're saying and they misunderstand. But we want to make sure we have everything properly written down, and then we take it from there. We have some questions coming up from Instagram. Bedazzled says, are they approving IR6 without interviews? And how can one help their case to get one? There's nothing you can really do to avoid an interview, but it's up to them. If you're doing adjustment of status in the United States, it is possible to have your interview waived. But if you're going through the embassy system for a green card, they're still going to want to have an interview with you. But the only USCIS in the United States, they may waive it. Now, Diane says, my husband is a green card holder. We did not concurrently file the case, means the I-130 petition for alien relative and the I-485 for adjustment of status. We received a request for medical form for the field office and received the approval for the I-130, but not yet for I-485. What's next? We'll respond to the medical RFE and send it and just wait for results. That's about it. Imran asked, my marriage-based green card is pending since May 2022. I did not hear on the I-130, I-485. My senator's national, the NBC. How can I expedite the court case? You have to have a reason for expedite, but you call USCIS up and say, I want to expedite, and for this reason, you have to have a good reason, and then wait there. Having a case for less than a year pending, or almost a year, is not that abnormal, even though recently they got fast. Cases before December 2022 are taking longer. If your case is after December 2022, like in January 2023, for some reason, the newer cases, they decided to go fast, but the older ones, not so much. So it's pretty annoying that they did that, but that's the situation. Heidi Vargas asks, can you file the I-34 even with a pending I-601? I'm not sure what an I-34 is. I-134 is a financial form, if that's what you're talking about, but that's related to maybe if you're doing a fiance visa It's not something you submit directly. So Heidi, your question isn't clear. So unfortunately, I can't answer that question. Going to TikTok, user 108 says, how long should it take before I hear back from a biometrics exam? There's no timeline. Bobby says, how can I apply for work permit at 150 days? No interview. Can I apply for the work permit? Bobby, ask your question once. We're going to have to mute you, unfortunately, because you asked multiple times. But what kind of work permit are you talking about? What it was 150 days have necessarily do with it. It's not clear what your question was, but we have to warn everybody because it gets so messy. If you ask your question multiple times, we will just mute you so you don't take up space. It makes it very hard to keep track of what is going on when someone asks the same question 1,000 times. Marla says, sir, can you apply for a tourist visa if you've been pending petition for a family in the U.S.? Yes, you can apply. It's up to the embassy how difficult they want to be. Kaizi says, my brother applied for adjustment of status from I-485 last year, February, sponsored by my dad. When can he get a green card? He's in the U.S. I don't know. It depends. Was he in status when he's in the United States? Was his case current when he filed it? Was the paperwork done? And really just goes to whenever USCIS has time to get to it. Wally says, is there any program that lets you buy a PR based on net worth? Not talking E2. Is there a program that lets you get a green card based on net worth? No, not in the U.S. I can't talk about foreign countries. Okay, let's see. Chaudhry says, when you're applying for citizenship on 5 years basis, how long out of the country is not counting? I'm not sure what you mean, but they want to look last 5 years. If you've been outside for more outside the 5-year period for long periods of time, potentially it can hassle you, but nowadays they want. It depends on the president, really, what the policy is. Kendall says, what can you do when you pass the citizenship test but were denied due to a mishap with police years ago? I don't know. That's a serious issue. That's not something we got to look what the mishap is. I mean, what actually was, what documentation you have, how long ago was it, how it was cleared up, all this kind of stuff. Melvin Regular says, hey, John, good to see you again. Please, can you help my wife upload affidavit of support on USCIS website using a petition option since it's difficult for her in another country? No, I don't know exactly what's going on. If there's an affidavit of support you need to upload in the correct spot. If not, mail it in if they've asked for it. But that's it. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. That's just so case specific. I can't really get into that here, Melvin. Deshi asks, I filled up the form IA-24 almost 4 months, but I didn't receive anything yet. Unfortunately, it does take a long time. Heidi follows up the I-134A. Heidi, I'm not sure what's going on in your case to need to do an I-134A, so that's kind of confusing. What are ways to prove hardship in a marriage, removal and conditions, abuse and stuff like that? I'm not sure why you're looking for hardship. I'm guessing you're looking for a waiver. Use a 360. Your question. Explain what the hardship is. That's just, I don't know what your unique hardship is to tell you how to prove it. So it depends on your case. Amit says, I filed I-2 December 2022. I still haven't got anything from USCIS. Please, we should have got a receipt. Other than that, these are super delayed on I-24s. Sometimes just say file an I-130 as well. Riyami says, I did the biometrics for a VAWA case. How long? He has social security number. It's up to the Social Security office. Archon says, how long does it take for the MVC to send a welcome letter for K-1 visa? There's no fixed time. It depends on when they get around to it. Sometimes it's a couple weeks, sometimes it's a couple months. Marley is okay, so we got a lot of repeat questions coming, but Riyama, we got that already. User 620 says, my wife gave a fingerprint 2 months ago. Do you know how long it takes? No, I don't. I'm going to skip all the questions, go on timelines because I don't have answers for those. It just varies. So if you don't get your answers question about timelines, that's that. If you ask, you don't have to mute you so you can't answer any more questions. So I do not recommend answering the same question over and over again. Mello says, my I-130 has been applied for last July. May I ask why it's taking so long? What's the reason for delay? There's no delay. That's normal timeline for USCIS right now. Yasin says, my green card expired. I already applied for her 6 month, but nothing heard any 10-year green card was. At the question, you got to rephrase that question. Yasin, it doesn't make sense. User 84 says, can my therapist provide a letter proving emotional mental hardship during marriage? Yeah, that's one thing you could do. So you got to see what's going on, have an explanation, have a personal statement, maybe call the police sometimes. That could be a letter for a hardship letter, not a hardship letter, just a letter from your therapist that could help you. Chaudhry says, okay, if my reinstatement case for student visa is under review, I can apply for E2. Not necessarily. Reinstatement needs to be cleared up first. You could apply for E2 potentially, but they may deny it. So that's an iffy situation, Audrey. You need to talk with the attorney in private. Dean Joy says, on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for this opportunity to ask all the burning questions. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad I can help in some form or fashion. I appreciate it. Thomas says, how can I bring my wife overseas? I'm guessing your wife is overseas. How can you bring her here? You can apply for her and bring her here. Wally says, I filed the I-130 for my parents. USCIS website says, unfortunately, this is taking longer than expected. Yeah, that's the thing about these timelines. USCIS will say one thing, I can say one thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's actually going to happen. So I don't bother even getting into timelines. Just file the case, and if you want to discuss timelines, hire a lawyer and spend their time talking with them. But it's just something that we don't have an exact answer on. So whatever I say doesn't matter. Parent has a interview for green card. Does he need to take birth certificate of all the children? If birth certificate of one child is not available, is the alternative option? Well, some embassies do ask for birth certificate of all the children, and sometimes they don't look at it, sometimes they don't, but it's better to have it. If one child doesn't have it available, you need to break down why it's not available and get any appropriate alternative documents if possible. So it's something to be mindful of. And he asks, I'm doing my citizenship and they requested my taxes for 5 years. I'm on a payment plan. The IRS has not updated my info. How do I write an affidavit to USCIS? Well, you explain it in addendum, the whole situation there, and take it from there. Demizi says, sir, please, I have a question. The 1 year you have to file for asylum, does it begin when you step foot in the US or you have a credible fear? I don't handle asylum cases, but essentially it's when you enter the United States. Why says parent has visa interview. Okay. Does parent need to take all financial documents, W-2 transcripts, petition with him? If yes, originals or copies? Yeah, it's better to take it, but W-2s and transcripts don't have original copies, so it's just going to be a photocopy. It's fine. Desi says, sorry, I missed your answer. Desi, you got to wait. That's 4 months is nothing. Carmen says, shall I send medicals or wait for USCIS to ask for them? Adjustment status. Definitely wait for USCIS to ask for the document. I don't like to mail things in on their own because they could get lost. USCIS might have set to mail it in anyway or something, but I don't recommend doing that because you might just have to do it again and spend money on it again. My husband has to travel back to Turkey for his green card interview. Do you know how long that can take? No, it's up to them. What's better, mailing or uploading online a USA account? There's no better, worse. It's just, I don't have an answer to that. My asylum interview was 9 months ago, still pending decision. That's unfortunate, but yeah, that could depend a long time. Can I travel within the United States with my EAD? You don't even need EAD to travel within the United States. Charlie says, thank you, you're welcome. Boss says, hi, when did the I-24 started going on? Because it's random and doesn't make sense. Yeah, definitely, it's unfortunate, it doesn't make sense. I actually was at a conference last week for immigration lawyers. It's called the annual conference for the American Immigration Lawyers Association. And USCIS was there, and I tried to bring it up and ask them and say, hey, this I-24 doesn't make sense. You shouldn't have this required on certain types of cases when people file I-130s and they fill out the wrong spot. The forms are too complicated. It's not fair, all this kind of stuff. They said, email us. And I said, okay, so I'm going to send an email about it. But this is definitely something that's unfair on families. So I really do hate it, and I'm bored with you. I get a lot of cases for I-24. It's good business for my office, but it's not good business. I'd rather not get this kind of business because the I-24 causes so much stress and pain and costs and detachment for family members, all this kind of stuff that I just really despise it. And hopefully they'll figure that out to help fix it so people won't go through this hell, but it is what it is right now. Desi asks, is there anything that you can do? I have a newborn baby. Also, my health is not well. Desi, you could always send an expedite request just because of your situation with USCIS. That might be something you could try. Fadi says, I came on a K-1 visa. Marriage didn't work out, so I ended up getting divorced. I applied for asylum, still pending. It's been 7 years. Anything else I could do? I feel tired mentally. Unfortunately, you're kind of limited. If you didn't get a green card through the existing spouse, then it's going to be a problem unless you get asylum approved. And you can file a lawsuit to speed up the decision on the asylum case and stuff like that, maybe. But I don't handle lawsuits directly myself on these kind of cases, or nor do I do asylum or immigration court. So that's this stuff. Melvin asks, hi, John, please, the USCIS request that the affidavit support be uploaded in the website after mailing it to them and also bring a copy to the interview. Please, can you help my wife upload it from there? I can't help. I don't have access to the site. I'm not the lawyer in the file. It's just, I'm not going to be able to add myself in time to meet the deadline. I don't know what to tell you, Melvin, unfortunately. That's why I got to get an attorney from the beginning so they're on the file. But USCIS would not say upload it and not mail it. That part, I'm not sure if it's actually happened. YH follow-up question, a birth certificate of a child is not available. Can a parent in Pakistan take family registration certificate, FRC as official document address? Yeah, not the family registration certificate, FRC, Another certificate in Pakistan is a satisfactory alternative for birth certificates. So yeah, that could be used for all the family members. That's it. Vivian says, what are the current I-130 processing times for USCI spouse? I don't have current. There's not a consistent timeline, so I choose not to talk about timelines of the show. Let's put it that way. Okay, we got a bunch of questions. Tony asked, my family citizenship due in next year in May. Can they go to India this October? They will back in November. Do you need to wait until 6 months? I don't know. That's too case specific, Tony. Carmen says, can you file for naturalization for a son after he gets the green card? Father is American citizen. The son is under 18. They're automatically a citizen if they get their green card and they're living in the United States with the parent. So that would solve it. You just get a certificate of naturalization. Let's see. Wally says, thank you for answering so many questions. You're welcome. Elias says, please, what is the trial date of court? That's the day you go to trial. Shah says, my asylum case has changed from decision pending to application pending. I don't know. Pilot says, hello, it's more than 14 months that I applied for I-131 advanced parole, but still no response. What to do? You contact USCIS to see what's going on. Warrior says, adopted to 16 years 2 years ago. I've been able to live with her. Can you still file for her? I don't know. I don't handle adoption cases. Dendroids, Shazam says, how long do I wait to welcome a letter for NBC? 2 to 8 weeks, and then contact them. Pretty much wrong thing for it. Okay, sure. It says NBC has my case from USCIS, but no response for 3 months, and I can't call them. Yeah, you got to use the online communication portal to contact them. So the last said, hi, I filed the I-485 for my husband. It's been 2 years, no decision. What shall I do? I don't know. I got to see what kind of case it was, what's going on there. Like if you're a green card holder, those cases take longer. But contact USCIS if it's outside processing timelines. Elias, okay. Jamshed says, pending asylum since 2016, entered legally and was under 18. Any suggestions? You can try suing them to get them a decision. Let's see. How long does it take for NBC? It's approved 2 months. Like user 87. Sir, why is my citizenship interview take 8 months to answer? That's normal. It just takes that long. Hashimi says, my wife's case is DQ at NBC last year. Still not interview overseas embassy US. Yeah, those are taking a long time to get. Niche, I already answered your question. Char says, my family application went for administrative processing 6 months, no update. You can sue them, but that's about it. Okay, Hashmi says, my wife's case DQ, already answered that question. Sol says, what does it mean that my I-130 is on adjudication process? That means they're reviewing it. Cher says, thank you for responding. I appreciate you. You're welcome. Sam says, can I apply for asylum with still an F1? Potentially, if you have a good case and you satisfy the 1 year requirement or have a reason for not filing with the 1 year. Let's see, 3 more messages. Time says, hey, good to see you. Gurbach says, how long for our fees for us not taking for these? There's no timelines. Rashi says, how do you get your medical report for a green card processing while applying marriage-based green card? How do you get your medical report for green card processing? Well, you go to the civil surgeon and get it. Can I sue myself? If you want to. Shah says, I didn't hear your answer. Sorry, Shah said, I don't know what your question was. And I pressed something on TikTok and the screen changed. I'm not sure what's going on. But we caught up. Okay, so let's jump on some other ones now. We got some questions. Timar says, I'm in the US. My husband is green card holder. I got married, stayed, filed, got work permit and EFR. What's next? I don't know your case. Ahmad says, I heard when you enter through the country after 16th May, you can seek for asylum. Is that true? That's unrelated. You can see if you enter the United States, you can file for asylum. And there's no May 16th. Maybe. I don't know. I don't handle asylum if there's something new that happened. Thank you for valuable time. You're welcome. Usedo, hello. Please, do you have to see an immigration judge for my green card approval after a VAWA was approved by USCIS? No, not necessarily. If you're outside, if you're not in court. The thing says, for the I-130, how important do you think creating a joint bank account for marriage for bona fide proof? One of my friends thinks it's a must. I have other things, beneficial benefits. So reality is, if you have a joint bank statement, if you want to prove your relationship, it's good having joint accounts, but you shouldn't just make an account for the sake of immigration. So if you have an account together and you do, that's good. If not, use your other evidence, and that's that. YH asks, can a green card holder parent file for a 40-plus-year-old divorced child? They can. It's going to take, 9 or 11 years or something like that, but they can, and the child has to remain single. They can't get remarried. Okay, let's go back to TikTok. We got a bunch of questions here. Okay. Faisal says, can you answer my question? I don't know which question is. Timosh says, can I call your office? What are the charges? We have to email us, Timosh. If someone wants to contact us, you got to email us. We don't take phone calls with non-clients. Email is info@jqklaw.com. You briefly describe your case there, and then if it's something we handle, we'll let you know, and what the fees are for a consultation or whatever. It varies depending on the facts of the case. If it's something we don't handle, we let you know, but that way you do everything in writing and it's all official. Wazir says, what is a life or death emergency for expedite request? I mean, it could be anything. I mean, life or death emergency. It's someone's dying or something like that. You got to see it, for example. Raisha says, will I be in status if I apply for a green card when my OPT expires? No, you fall out of status. Just filing for a green card doesn't create status, but it puts you in a period of authorized stay, which means they generally don't hassle you until a decision is made on the case, but not for sure. R says, how rare is it to get a medical exam RFE before visa final action date? It's not. I don't know. I don't keep track of rarities of the stuff, so I don't know. RC says, can a Canadian get a TN work visa if they're married to a U.S. citizen? Yeah, it's not impossible. So it's up to embassy, up to the officer who's dealing with the case. YH is probably better you get a consultation because you have so many questions. But anyways, any particular medical condition that causes now for IRV5 visa for parents? Yeah, tuberculosis, gonorrhea, syphilis, not getting vaccines, being a drug abuser of some kind, having serious mental health issue that's going to create problems for themselves. All this kind of stuff. You probably don't have any of them, so it'll be okay, but that could happen. Bedazzle says, I'm waiting for an EAD. It should be waiting time for 3 months, right? No, there's no time limit. John says, can asylum be approved without interview? No. What's the cost of adjustment in 2023? The government fee is $1,225 for Form I-485. You may have additional forms that are needed, but attorney fees are separate. Edward says, hello, it's been 9 months after my asylum interview and still no response. I'm sorry to hear that, but that's that. And I'm going to have to mute you, unfortunately, Edras, for asking the same question a million times, making it hard for everyone else to ask questions. Sarah says, if my husband received his EAD card, does that mean his permanent residence will be approved? No, not at all. They're completely unrelated. Now, we're getting some questions for consultation. We stopped the free consultation program we had, unfortunately. But you can always email the office and briefly describe the immigration issue that you have. If it's a quick answer I try to give it. If not, we try to sometimes get free consultations. They're very rarely. I wouldn't rely on that happening at all. But email the office and briefly explain your immigration issue. Jasmine says, Department of Homeland Security, money order or credit card? It depends on what kind of case you're submitting to them. So it varies. Faisal says, I have an E2 visa. How long will it take for my kids to get a visa? There's no fixed timeline for that. They have to go do an embassy interview. If they're minors, they may not have to do an interview, but it depends on the embassy, whether they approve it, whether there's administrative processing, which takes longer. So that's why there's no real time. Sager says, how long does the EAD take after submitting the application? 3 months, 1 year, may not come, may get denied, all over the place. NY Poonam asks, hello, is there any way you can blacklist someone who is an American citizen? I don't even know what that means. Okay. Jenna says, do you have to pay the fee with a credit card, or does it have to be a money order? They allow checks and they allow credit cards. If it's not a local office, not taking money orders anymore. But why get a money order when you can write a check? But it depends on what kind of case you give submit to. Jeff says, how safe to travel abroad with the I-131 while asylum pending with that interview? How safe? I'm not in the business of telling how safe you are. If you're worried, then don't go. Jenna says, do you have to pay the fee with a credit card, or does it have to be with money? Or you've asked that question like 50 times. You're welcome. Okay, say thank you. Okay. Time frame for work permit? No time frames. Zona says, marriage green card on his passport, place of birth is Stuttgart or green card? You put Germany. Stuttgart is in Germany, so I'm not sure what's going on. Kevin says, hello, I paid the VAWA fees. I would proceed. I'm not sure why you paid VAWA. VAWA doesn't have fees. User 87 says, I was in a behavioral hospital for 15 days with VAWA case. Can this reject my citizenship interview? I don't know. That's a 2 case specific. I'll see what's going on there. Sadat says, prosecutor bars for asylum applicant who are past military members of the country. That's 2 case specific. Sager says, when should you apply for the renewal of EAD? Usually 180 days before it's about to expire. King Classic, how long is J1 waiver process? It varies. Kevin, please don't ask the same question over again. I might need to mute you. Mustafa says, can I get an EAD category C11? I'm not paroled and I don't handle C11 cases. I don't know. I also don't handle SIV cases. Don't know. Came to U.S. on a tourist visa, married a U.S. military fiance a week later. but here 3 months can I AOS? I can't give individual guidance. I'm not sure, so I can't answer that. But Daniel says, I'm an American married to a Barbadian, currently in Barbados. Does she need to be vaccinated for COVID? Right now, to get a immigrant visa, marriage green card visa, you need to be vaccinated. By the time your case comes up for interview and all that stuff, the requirement might be gone. So, wait till the last second. Oliver says, can you say the wait time of marriage base after biometrics? There's no, the biometrics is not tied to when the green card gets approved. They're separated. Zona says, I think I did a mistake. How's my husband born? Stuka already answered that question. I'm not sure what the mistake is when you said Germany, when Stuttgart is in Germany, not sure what's going on there. Daphne says, do you offer immigrant services in Boston? We handle cases all over the country. I just can't go in person in Boston, but normally I don't need to go in person for any case. So that's that. So that says travel document processing times. It varies. Always check USCIS.gov for processing times. It's all over the place. And that's that. So, these questions of timelines, it's very so dramatically, and they're so inconsistent with the timelines with USCIS that I just can't want to answer anymore because anything I say is going to be wrong. Vinny says, I didn't hear your answer. Can you please repeat? Thanks. I'm not sure what your question was. So, Jenna says, can my lawyer get a copy of the medical exam, or is that unheard of? So, if you're doing the medical exam in the United States, we always ask clients to pick up the sealed envelope that is the medical results from the doctor, but also ask them, and before you even schedule, to make sure that they give a copy of it for your attorney to review. So you get the sealed one, and you get a copy of the contents in the sealed envelope, and you give it to us to review. When you do it overseas with a civil surgeon, I don't usually do that, although they probably should release it to you. But you definitely want the USCIS because we see issues with these all the time. And on YouTube, we had a really detailed video breaking down the issues that we do see on the on the medical checkup from I-693. So I definitely recommend going to YouTube, JQK Law, I-693, or medical checkup, and watching that video that details how the medical checkup is supposed to look like to avoid those mistakes. If there's a mistake, go to the doctor to fix it, or go to a new doctor if these people can't figure it out. About you, can we do mandamus if we just filed last year? Maybe, if it's outside, if what regular times are. Jen says, thank you so much. The interview is in the USA. You're welcome. FOC said, I tried to renew my green card 2 years ago. I paid all, but that's been 2 years and I still haven't got it. Well, that sucks. Just make sure you submit the right form. And unfortunately, there's delays on these things, so it takes a while. It sucks pretty bad that these things, like a basic green card renewal, it's taking a while. You may have been done an I-75 with removal conditions, and those take longer than 2 years nowadays. Government expects it to take 4 years. That's the attitude of government is lack of resources, and unfortunately, for the most part, in many cases, it's just getting worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better, or it's just going to get worse before it gets worse. And that's the situation with regards to immigrant case, visa immigration processing. Not much you can do unless there's a pre-processing situation, unless you have like a clean, expedite reason to do something. But the reality is the best thing you can do is to just have a very clean case from the beginning to avoid having the need to do an RFE or response. So just making it so clean, the case, that it prevents them from having an issue in the first place. So that way, you get approved and it goes, they don't come back and ask for questions. Just make it easy for them to approve. Oliver says, I didn't get your answer on the EAD timeline. That's because I didn't give an answer. Timelines vary dramatically. You just got to wait for your turn. That's about it. So we're about to finish up the show. If anyone has any final questions here, just let me know. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi. What you got to do is schedule a private consultation is to email me and info@jqqlaw.com and to briefly describe your question or issue. And that way we'll know if this kind of case we handle, and that can let you know if there's a fee for the consultation, and if there is, how much that is, and who the lawyers are to handle it. Then we take it from there. First, you got to see what's going on with a brief explanation of the case that you guys. The YouTube channel, JNF, just go and type in JQK Law in YouTube. That's J like Jack, Q like Queen, K like King, and there it'll happen. Okay, how long is the I-24 approval? No fixed timelines. I don't know. Edom says, will it be considered overstay if I get denied for B2 visa extension after I'm back to my country? No, not technically, but the Foreign Affairs Manual, which is the guidance from the embassy, says if you left before a decision is made, it won't be. But practically speaking, they may still hassle you and you come at the border. So that's possible. Asim says 132 days after citizenship interview, no response. Soon. Jen says, thank you, blessings, God bless. Case says, I applied for I-130, now they requested I-24. I don't know what the form, does it need fees? Yeah, it does. Kasi, go. If you type in IE24 in YouTube, majority of the videos that come up are going to be my videos. Check it out over there. I'm sorry that you have to do this for me. We had a long discussion about it earlier, but unfortunately, that's the situation. Abdul asks, what would be your recommendation for students looking to study immigration law? Would you recommend this field of law? I would strongly recommend it. I love this area of law. I have a separate podcast and trade magazine for immigration lawyers, and I have a course for those wanting to be immigration lawyers. I mean, if you're already a immigration lawyer, a lawyer in general, it's called the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Champions for Freedom course. So I'm really into it. Definitely do it. But it depends on your personality and stuff too. We'll take one or two more questions and call it a day. Abdullah says, what are the chances of winning a sign Ohio Cleveland? That question doesn't make sense. This is not like a gambling thing that just throw some dice and you may or may not get approved. It depends on your case, Abdullah. And Raul says, it's been almost 7 years since I filed for asylum. No update at all. Now, unfortunately, those delays are in there. Cookie says, how long have we received workman while understanding? Didn't we answer all these questions? Okay, so we're going to call it quits on TikTok. A lot of repeat questions. Last questions. Whew, so many people doing I-24s. I'm sorry that y'all have to do this, but I keep says that I filed I-24, went to Texas. How long does it take? Please advise. Not clear how long it's going to take. Just hopefully you filled it out right, and then you wait. Maybe you filed I-130 in the meantime. And then it says, any words of encouragement for immigrants? And thanks for your help. You're welcome. You just got to persevere and stick with it and get things going. In the meantime, while you're waiting, read some books, study, get education. Not school, real education, learn stuff and just make life better for yourself. That's about it. 29 Super C, what our regulars hope you're doing well, attorney. It's pretty hot in Texas. Well, God bless you. Good to see you in Texas. 29 Super C, I appreciate it. And with that, we're done for today. We'll be back next Tuesday for the live show. And sometimes randomly I'll go live on TikTok. If you follow us there, it's Immigration Lawyer John on TikTok, but we're also on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I appreciate everyone. Have a safe time. See you next week. I think it's going to be 4th of July next week or something. When is that going to be? I'll see if we're going to go. I'm not sure we're going to go live, but I may just do it. God bless. Be safe. And I'm Immigration Lawyer John Castravi. I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.